Hello, Footballer Nation, and welcome to the greatest rising podcast in football, and welcome to the greatest rising podcast in football. My name is Carson, and I am a Battlehawksaholic.
My name is Alex, and I'm a Panthersaholic, not to be confused with those that reside in Charlotte.
I'm Ian, and I'm a UFL-aholic.
To hear more about the UFL that Ian is so obsessed with, stay tuned for the rest of the episode, but first, we gotta roll that intro. Hello, Footballer Nation, and welcome to Footballers Anonymous, the greatest rising podcast in football and the only podcast covering the UFL. It's true. Don't look it up. Just trust us. Coming at you after the craziest week of the UFL we have had so far.
Is the intro music done yet?
Yes.
Oh, sweet.
Welcome.
Thanks. Great to be here, guys.
So we're gonna
happy to be here.
We're gonna jump right into. Go ahead.
Sorry, you know what I think about music?
What do you think about music?
It's a very important thing in the entertainment side of the business world, and
You only say that because you're studying it.
well, I wouldn't say I'm stuck. You know what? Music is in all of us. You know what else is in all of us? What?
I was so dumb.
Bad segue. All right, guys.
Just because Carson was trying to take it himself.
Yeah, hit
He-
them all.
Not all that.
Hey, not everything you release is a hit, okay? You just got to keep going at it, and eventually you will get more consistent with your hits.
Alex, you're making it worse. All right, jumping into today's segment of we asked you to ask us questions and we answered them. We have quite a few questions. Each one of us actually got a couple individually. We're going to start with a pretty good one that I got today. It's actually very interesting. How do you think the playoff format affects the competitiveness of the league, particularly with the Battlehawks? Does them automatically having home field advantage give them some sort of competitive advantage they don't deserve?
I'm gonna be honest. I was thinking NFL playoffs, and I was about to start going crazy, and then I realized it was UFL.
No, so this question stems because she and I were having a conversation.
I already have a full.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's as simple as scheduling issues. How small the league is affects like how often they're able to book venues and whatnot. They don't really have a priority in a lot of cases, and in this case that was the field they had available for the situation, so that's the field they went with. From what I saw, the DC field that they were going to use wasn't available that week, so they just had to go with the St. Louis one. I think specifically just has to deal with like their availability.
I think it can have an effect on the competitive nature. I think Ford Field might actually be taken as well for Michigan, which is not a great sign either, which means it'd be in Birmingham.
Yes, it's in Birmingham.
Even though
It's already
likely that
confirmed.
Michigan will finish ahead. But obviously there's not much they can do about it. I think it does affect the competitive nature, but I think it would affect the St. Louis DC game more if DC finished with the 1 seed, because St. Louis is such a big crowd. I think with the Panthers and the Stallions, it's not as big of a deal. It's still still will affect the competitive nature of the sport, but due to the crowds not necessarily being at the size of the NFL, it's not as bad as if it were to be like an NFL team, like the 1 seed in the NFL having to go to the 5 seed because of scheduling conflict.
It definitely does
Realistically,
hurt it.
It does. Realistically, if you don't want that if you're worried about the competitive nature, I would personally try to go to a neutral field that's closer to the home team, but I don't think
The only-
I it definitely does take a bit of a toll on the competitive nature. It kind of ruins competing for personal field advantage, but I think it's kind of different in that case this year because the playoffs are already locked, so people are. Well, I guess there is a world where with 2 weeks left, they're still fighting for home field advantage. But if that's not the case, then why even try these next 2 weeks? So it definitely takes a big hit on it, from a like a resting starters perspective and a competing through the rest of the season.
It's definitely unfortunate. I know I do agree, because my first initial thought when I was thinking about this is why don't they do neutral site for both? But I mean, when you think about it, like they're already struggling for attendance as is. They're just trying to get people in those seats. And if you move both of those teams to a city where neither of them play, they're not going to get very many people in those seats. And it is especially for the XFL. I know St. Louis is the biggest home field advantage for sure. And the fact that they've essentially already locked that, even though they may not get the 1 seed, does kind of seem sort of unfair to DC, especially if they do end up earning it. But there's not much that can be done until the UFL gets a little bigger. So if you're in an area where you can go see a UFL game, you should totally. Tickets are like $10.
They've been a lot more entertaining as the season is going on.
We had some amazing games this week. I think all around the board, they were all very entertaining. Even the Brahmas put up an entertaining performance. Of course, they lost, but it was at least fun.
The gap between the votes and the Ma's was surprisingly small.
All right, moving into our next question. Ian, you have one for us.
Yes, I actually have a kind of a dual one. Both taking legal perspectives on the NFL. First one being, is it legal or can you block a field goal by standing at the crossbar? Legally speaking, no. Once the ball is kicked and it goes up above the crossbar, you cannot influence it physically. But in a theoretical standpoint, it is technically possible to block a field goal while standing the goalpost. We've seen NFL players have great verticals, and sometimes the ball's low enough where you could just jump up and snag it out of the air. So legally, no, but theoretically, yes. And the other question, is it legal to wear 3-digit jersey numbers? Also, no. It's not legal for that either.
It is not.
The NFL has a rule, and on top of that, they have each position divided into different number groups. My guess as to why is just simply because they're too big and clunky and take up too much space on the jerseys and take up too much resources, if I had to guess. Now, question for you two, would you guys like to see triple-digit numbers?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
That would.
I mean, just looking at like the Mr. Irrelevant jersey and how big it has to be with those numbers, it just looks bad. And no one wants to say number 262 on the offense.
I personally think it would be cool to see.
999.
I personally think it'd be pretty cool for like some players to wear like area code jerseys, kind of like how Marcus Mariota had the 808 face mask when he played at Oregon. But it's just the 3 digits are just too big and just take up too much space on the jersey.
I agree. And then Alex, you had one.
Yeah, a fellow colleague of mine asked who will win the Super Bowl, not in 2026, but in 2027. Drop the picks now.
In 2 years, the Saints.
What?
Depends on how they do this year.
Like Arch Manning, like.
Hey, there's a chance.
Hey, no, I'm
I'll spend-
locking,
I'll
I'm locking it in
tomorrow.
now.
Probably not the Saints, no, but
There's only
I'm
2 years from that.
I'm locking it in now. His first year as a starter, Jackson Dart wins a Super Bowl in New York.
Do you think he won't start this year?
I said his first full year as a starter.
Okay.
Alex is going to say the Bills, and it's going to be way more inaccurate than mine and Ian's
No,
picks.
actually, I think the Bills win this year, and next year it's gonna be the Carolina Panthers.
Your
Okay.
first sentence completely invalidated your next one.
Yeah,
Your first pick
I would have heard
Completely
you out.
invalidated your one. I would have been fine with Panthers. I would have supported that, but then your first sentence just ruined your second one.
I would
Here's
just
the thing.
ruin it.
No, it's just not. No, it's not possible.
Bills winning the Super Bowl is not possible. Okay,
Possible or plausible. None of our teams will ever win a Super Bowl in our lifetimes, and that's just how it's going to be.
let a man have hope.
Except for mine when I was first born.
You know what?
All right,
maybe the Panthers just go back to back because every season that they've had the Jaguars week 1, they have been to the Super Bowl, and they have the Jaguars week 1 this year.
We believe in conspiracy theories.
No, we
Sorry,
don't.
not back to back. The Panthers lose to the Bills in the Super Bowl this year, and then
Okay.
No. All right, jumping into the 2024 fan voted favorite Footballers Anonymous segment, we've got Carson's College Knowledge, a pretty short one for you today. Some big news, first of all, is the UNC Notre Dame rivalry may be ending this fall. That is huge. They are still trying to work out a deal for their yearly games, and it does not look like that's going to be a thing anymore. So that's going to be very big for both of those programs, especially Notre Dame, who's just kind of, plays whoever, not in a specific conference. That's big for them. The state of Ohio is attempting to make it illegal to host a college game in the state before 3:30 p.m. because of just how insulted they are about all their good games being big noon, which is kind of crazy. But you also have, people in the government take college sports seriously. We already had the whole flag thing a couple months ago, and now we've got this. It's a real thing that's happening. Travis Hunter is not looking very good in his wide receiver routes in Jacksonville. He's stumbling a lot, struggling on some of his turns. I'm sure it'll be fine, but we'll just have to see. And then otherwise, NFL Rookie Premier Media Day was this week, which honestly, nothing really important happened at. They just took a bunch of pictures and a bunch of promotional videos in their jerseys. Some important things to note: no Bills or Cardinals were in attendance. I don't know why. I don't know if they weren't invited or they just had team conflicts or whatever. I don't know. But fifth rounder Shador was there, so what are you gonna do?
Honestly, I think it's more surprising that Gabriel was there than Shador being there.
Hey, we love doing love.
And I would just like to comment on the Travis Hunter thing. It's like a few clips out of how many reps. He's probably ran so many more reps.
Oh,
He's probably ran
absolutely.
10 times the reps as what's been shown. And they were only showing the bad ones. I won't put too much pressure on him or the situation. I have faith. I think he'll do great.
Nah, if you saw what he did at Colorado, he can run. He's fine. It's just something that's going around on the internet, just commenting on it. And then, if for whatever reason he does turn out to just be the complete bust of the draft, we can go, wow, guys, look, we called it. We totally did.
Yeah, we called it, guys. We talked about it so much.
We talked about it so much that one time. And then we said it wasn't actually an important thing, but it's okay.
We said it was cherry picking, but that's a future.
And there you go, guys. That is Carson's college knowledge for this week. So we are gonna change the order up a little bit and jump right into the.
We're not forgetting about our comment of the week from Sean Hudso, who is very apparently a Seahawks fan in the profile picture as well as in the comments. It's a long one, so buckle up. No Way the Bears fan who thinks he's going from 4 wins to playoffs. The Bears did not only get 4 wins.
5 wins, by the way.
5 wins. And the Bills fan who actually thinks they can make a Super Bowl are calling the Cardinals fan biased for thinking his team can get into the playoffs with 10 plus wins, like they didn't get 8 last season, have the best draft in the league, and have one of the easiest schedules imaginable. I'm gonna fact check.
So get the Bears did get more than.
I don't think we ever called you biased for thinking they'll have 10 plus win and making this playoffs. I think we just called you biased for like a couple picks.
I don't entirely understand the context of this comment. I mean, I appreciate it.
So he said, and that's coming from a Hawks fan, W Pod. Appreciate that part of it.
W Pod, appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
I think a lot of the problem I was talking about with the bias was a lot because of we was trying to remember what matchups it was. Multiple sweeps in the division. I don't think the sweeps will come that easy. And then I think we also put the Texans really low. I don't think they'll be great. Didn't you also?
I'm pretty sure. I know for a fact I called.
I also called out bias on the Packers.
I know for a fact I called out bias on the Carolina pick, but never anything about the team as a whole, unless I'm crazy.
You're not beating Carolina. That game.
We're 100% beating Carolina. It's week 2. It's our home opener.
Exactly the point. It is week 2, meaning.
And our offense stayed exactly the same. We're gonna be just fine.
Yet Carolina still killed y'all last time.
And we now have a top 5 defense. We're chilling.
You lost to them with your season on the line. There's nothing on the line here.
I don't. What?
You were playing your hearts out, trying not to get eliminated from the postseason against Carolina, and y'all lost last time. They're gonna come in
Carolina with our crap defense.
Yeah, being in Carolina matters. Have you seen their crowds?
I have seen their crowd. I was there.
You have, yeah.
And let me tell you, it was the loudest they were all year. I was in fact a part of that crowd. Honestly, the hate is low key insane. I understand predicting that we're gonna lose that game, but saying we will lose that game is wild. That is just wild.
If it was legal for me to put money on it, I would put money on the Panthers.
Look, all I'm gonna say, there's this big storyline that the Panthers are all always have the Cardinals number. That was 2 times. We have beat them several times in the middle of those 2 random games that are the only ones people remember. This is not a thing.
I'm back.
Alex, it is 100% legal for you to put money on a handshake bet with a coworker.
Oh yeah, I know that. I meant I'm talking I would put money on Vegas money. I would do that.
It's legal.
That is wild, and I'm gonna laugh at you so hard next season. So hard.
By the way, you also lost that time when Cam Newton came back for one singular game and whooped y'all.
That was funny.
3 times.
Okay, a team has beaten us 3 times. How many teams have been beaten by someone 3 times before?
No one else ever. Every other team is 2-2 versus each other.
No one's ever lost to a team 3 times. Ever.
Nope.
Ian.
I cannot recall one.
Alex, you've lost to the Chiefs more than 2 times.
No. What?
I can recall a certain Patriots dynasty.
I can also recall a certain streak of losing to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, the Bills are currently 0-4 against them in the past 5 matchups.
Who are we
So
talking about?
the Bills, they're currently 0-4 against the Packers in their last 4
This is
meetings.
true.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did not know that.
So now we're gonna move
we
on
beat
to
them
our
in 20.
ranking
We beat them the most
segment.
recent time.
All right, so now
We're
for time
power
reasons, we're gonna
ranking.
move on.
We beat them the most recent time. It was Sunday Night
I don't
Football,
know
week
what you're
8
talking
of
about, buddy.
2022 or 2023.
You don't even know what you're talking about. You're so biased
It
right
was
now.
Aaron Rodgers' last season as a Packer. We beat him.
You're so biased right now. You have no clue what you're talking about.
Anyway,
Just spelling out wrong.
you know what? Since I'm good at recapping games, I just recapped the Packers and the Bills game from like 2 or 3 years ago. And it was actually it's gonna be 3 years ago. But anyway, regardless, here's some UFL recaps for y'all. Starting off with the Showboats and the Brahmas. This was an absolute tank bowl out right in the Alamo Dome. Second game that San Antonio has hosted this season, which is ridiculous. It went into overtime. It was actually a very entertaining game. Hogan had a pretty decent game. No, he did not. I'm a liar.
Hogan? No. I mean, he looks
Hogan,
better
no.
than Kellen Mond, but that says
That's
nothing.
not hard to accomplish.
No, you gotta when you look at how good this game was, you don't look at the passing stats, okay? Williams for the Showboats had 36 yards passing, and I was like, maybe Hogan did better. He threw 3 picks and 90 yards. So I didn't watch this game, so I'm kind of recapping off the fly. A lot of the offensive generation was in the running attack. The Showboats had a 3-headed monster, kind of. And then the Browns were carried by Corbin. Obviously, there were also a lot of turnovers in this game, which means you don't have to get a ton of yards, but I digress. So that game was 24-22. Next, Panthers at Roughnecks. That one was at the same time frame as the Stallions and the Battlehawks, which I'll talk about in a second. The last entertaining of the 2 games. The Panthers kind of just didn't necessarily run away with it, but they went and they clinched their playoff spot. They had a pretty good day passing. For some reason, Bryce Perkins wasn't playing this game.
Ankle injury.
He did have an ankle injury?
Yeah, they just
Okay.
didn't announce it at all.
Okay, I was wondering during the game. I was like, why is he not? We were all talking about why is he not playing. Shout out McClendon though, who had a really good game. Who 30 of 50 pass attempts for 316 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He was doing what he needed to do. They just couldn't get the win. They only had 18 points with 50 pass attempts. That's ridiculous. Stallions at Battlehawks. This was game of the year material right here. Absolute slugging it out. Jamar Smith looked incredible in this game. Shout out him. He just didn't have a rushing attack to help him out, and then the Battlehawks just got the game-winning kick at the very end.
No, it
No,
was a
Stallions'
fumble.
final drive. On the
Yeah,
Stallions'
yeah,
final drive,
right.
he needed 5 yards to get into a field goal range, and the running
Who
back fumbled.
fumbled the ball again?
Their running back.
Stallions,
I don't know
their
his
running
name.
back.
What game was I thinking of that had a kick? I was thinking of Rodrigo Blankenship. That's why.
He missed. He missed his first field goal of the season that
Did
game.
miss. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, he's still nearly perfect on the year, so I'm not upset. But he did miss his first kick of the year.
Yeah. And our last game, which was also kind of game of the year material, was the
Yeah.
Renegades and the Defenders. Some really good games coming this week. The competition has gotten better. Perez still playing out of his mind. Like his team just does not assist him, and that's been the story for them the entire season. He's been a lot better than most of the players in the league, and his team is sitting at 3-5.
Okay, I would like to say something about that. Perez's team did come in clutch this time, and Perez threw the game away at the end.
Really?
Yes, all he had to do was spike the ball for the field goal unit to come out and bring it into overtime. And he saw an opening and thought, you know what, I'm gonna fake the spike, and it got.
Oh boy.
So this was the first game that his team actually did kind of come in clutch, and then Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Yeah. Jordan Tom, who also played pretty good. Again, his completion percentage is going up. It's not at 40% anymore. Good job, Tomu. You're gonna need that. But yeah, the Defenders clinched, the Battlehawks clinched, the Stallions clinched, and the Panthers clinched. All of that eliminating the Roughnecks and the Renegades. I'm a little upset about the Renegades being eliminated because I thought the Renegades were the Renegades, they just got they were just on the bad side of game constantly against very good formidable opponents. So it's just unfortunate to see them go down, but I don't think the Roughnecks should have been there. The Roughnecks, I don't think the Roughnecks and the Renegades should be the same.
Very valid.
But yeah, that is what happened this week, and we're gonna get our power rank.
So right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who do not know, we here at Football Anonymous every week make our rankings for all the teams in the UFL. So how this works is we use this thing called map, and we each make our own list of every team from worst to best, and then we use this thing called math to put those together using some averages and stuff like that to create a group list. Now, occasionally, because, math, we have ties sometimes. So when we have ties, we have to discuss them on the podcast and eventually vote on which one takes the higher spot. We've only had that happen 1 week this season, and it is not happening now. In fact, this week we were almost entirely unanimous except our top 2 teams, which will make sense once we get there. But we're going to start off with our baddies this week. Starting off with number 7, our first baddie, the Memphis Boats, who won the Tank Bowl.
They did.
Technically, they lost the Tank Bowl.
They did.
I mean, did they? Do you get anything from tanking in the UFL if it's all just free
There is a
agents?
draft. There is a UFL draft.
All right. Yes,
Is there
is,
really? I don't know.
There
I
is.
didn't know that.
They
There
do
is a
zero
UFL
coverage,
draft.
but there is a UFL draft.
But I will say it's probably not as impactful as the NFL.
Not at all. Not at all.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure they just take like what's left over from the NFL draft and NFL free agent.
I was going to say, you're not even getting the leftovers of the draft. You're getting the leftovers of the leftovers of the NFL draft.
Yeah, you're
because
getting,
the
you're
leftovers
getting
get signed.
you're getting thirds, and it's essentially crumbs. But yes, the UFL does have a draft, so and they do have a draft order.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say. It's week 8. The Boats have been here super consistently. I don't think they haven't gone past 7 a single time all season.
No.
So nothing really new for us to say about them this late in the season.
We started off the season by making fun of the Boats, and we're ending the season still kind of making fun of the Boats, just not as much as the Maz, who are at number 8. I know I just spoiled it, but
Our
Yep,
ultra baddies.
the ultimate baddie is the Brahmas. They suck. Nothing to say. I'm not wearing the hat because the hat doesn't exist to me. I sold it. I returned it because it was an official UFL licensed product. I don't know if I said this last week or not, but they're single-handedly ruining spring football for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not. If it were the Bears, it would be a different story. I'm still invested. The Bears went 5-12. I'm still invested in the Bears. I'm not as invested in the Brahmas. In fact, I was only invested for Donald De La Haye, who has been completely radio silent, by the way. Zero clue what's going on there. So I just have zero, they're just kind of ruining spring football for me right now. And that's why I'm a UFL-aholic, because I don't care anymore.
I think next season will be better for you when you pick an actually competent team.
And yeah, I'm
Hopefully. Or you're gonna
really
pick-
sorry.
Ian's gonna pick one of the new expansion teams, I have a feeling, and then he's gonna end up picking the worst of the 4, and they're gonna go.
Probably. That's probably what's going to happen. I'll pick the new worst team. The Brahmas will explode to 10-0, and I'll pick the new worst team.
Yeah, coming in at 6, we have again the Houston Roughnecks, who have
They really
yet to
played a
show
game.
any grit.
In fact, they played the worst game this week.
They did.
They are number 6.
Again.
Yep, they're
There's
here.
really not much to say.
My fault for trying to hype the Roughnecks up in the middle of the season.
It was valid though. It was valid. They had some glimpses, some real hope was
Life,
there.
But that's what happens when you're at 6. You show some life, and you're just that's what you do. You show life every once in a while, and then nothing rough over there.
Rough in the necks. Not really showing the grit we were promised.
Man, my neck is kind of rough.
Oh, you belong at number 6 then, Alec.
No.
Coming in at number 5, we have Luis Perez and the Arlington Renegades. Again, talked about it.
Very, very
Very
disappointed in
sad.
this team. I was very high on their horse early on, and I still was, and it just didn't pay off. So it's kind of unfortunate. 5 again, really not much to say again. We're so late in the season, everything's just kind of the way it is. This wasn't that great of a week either for developments.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Perez will not be on the Renegades next season. I think if he's still in the UFL, I think he'll be on a different team, because this is 2 seasons in a row where they've had a below 500 record, and I don't think he's gonna be very happy with that in the UFL.
Love Luis Perez, and it's a shame that the one time that his team really put together like a really solid game for him is the one game where he makes a mistake, because he's played very smart, consistent football for these first 8 weeks, and he made the worst mistake of the season in probably his most important game. Not probably, it was his most important game of the season, fighting to stay in the playoffs, and he literally threw it right to them. It's just unfortunate for the Renegades. But now with our top 4, we do get into our playoff teams, which is kind of interesting. And it'll definitely be interesting to see how they play, whether they rest starters or they keep people in. It'll definitely be interesting to see. I know some of these teams have been riddled with injuries, especially our number 4 team. It is the Birmingham Stallions.
They actually played a really solid game this week.
It was an amazing game.
It was a nail biter, came down to the wire. That final drive was something. They were down. They were in field goal range, and then a false start took them out of field goal range. Then they handed off the ball. Their running back they needed 5 yards to quit. Their running back took them 6 and then fumbled, costing the game. Very upsetting end, but
Hey,
it was a
speak for
great game.
yourself. I thought it
Game
was
of the
great.
Yeah, this was either the game of the year or the number 2 game of the year.
Easily.
You said it was debatable between this and Renegades Defenders the first time around. Both amazing games. Whichever one you prefer really is the game of the year.
Yeah, this was an incredible game. Stallions defense really stepped up. Jamar Smith was looking really good. He was making some pretty apparent mistakes, which have come from him not talking or not playing football for a minute. He has been taking a break because of his mental health. But he and his coach have a very, very good relationship, and that was very apparent during the game. Very fun to watch. They bicker like an old married couple. You love to see it, and it's unfortunate for them, but they still clinched playoffs because wait, how did because
the Roughnecks lost.
because the Roughnecks lost. That's right. The Roughnecks lost, so they still clinched. So I think they're doing okay and really just looking for ahead to the championship at this. Coming in at 3, we have the DC Defenders, who also had a nail biter, but they were on the winning side.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a great
when I
point,
think of
Carson.
the Defenders, I think of Washington, the Washington Defenders.
Ha ha ha! Very funny.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Louis Perez made a big mistake coming down the stretch, and I think they could have very well lost that game if they got that kickoff. But they're in the championship. It's gonna be them.
It's definitely developing for an interesting playoff game.
Oh yeah, them and the Battlehawk. They'll have one more rematch at the very end of the season in week 10 before they square up again the week 5.
Yeah.
It'll probably be just like a preview type deal for week 10. Not crazy, but that's what.
I would imagine so. I mean, we've got in both of the conferences, we've got some big teams in the USFL. We've got the Defender, or not the Defenders. We've got the Panthers, who can never seem to beat the Stallions, and in the XFL, we've got the Battlehawks, who can't seem to beat the Defenders. Both of them are higher than their opponents on the power rankings, but it'll definitely make for some very interesting matchups for sure. And with that coming in at 2, we have, once again, as per usual, the St. Louis Battlehawks, who, wow, I felt a lot of emotions during this game. I was terrible, kind of the opposite of what Ian's feeling. I'm not used to watching a really good team play football. It's very refreshing, and it really does make spring football more enjoyable for me. I'm able to really get into the games when I have something good to watch. With the Cardinals, it doesn't matter how good they are. I'm right, but it's really refreshing to be able to watch that. Max Duggan looked okay. He didn't seem super amazing. He was just fine on his legs. He is still that guy. I'm going to say his rushing attack is much better than Manny Wilkins, and Manny Wilkins was amazing on his legs. But Max Duggan has just been known for that. Since his days at TCU. There was one play that was just my favorite thing. He rushed it into the end zone a couple yards, but there was a holding call, and they got pulled back to like the 14 or 15 yard line. And that very next play, he takes it again right up the middle into the end zone again. He's like, okay, fine, I'll do it again. He had 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. Pretty cool. Hakeem Butler finally saw some production, probably had the most clutch catch of the day when they needed to score points on their final drive. Brought them all the way down the field. So that was great. Hot Rod lost his first field goal. Totally fine. I feel pretty good about the Battlehawks. And I think they're right on the edge of the 1 spot, depending on whether the Panthers can finally, well, we'll get into that. But up first, go ahead.
I was very wrong about Hakeem Butler in weeks 1 and 2. I was very upset with what he did in week 1, and I lashed out on him a lot because 1, what I saw was disgusting, and 2, Carson was putting shade on Donald De La Haye, so I retaliated. But I was super wrong about Hakeem Butler. He's turned out to be a great production value, and I love seeing what he's doing as opposed to me absolutely hating what I saw in week 1.
What you saw in week 1 was totally valid to hate too. It was bad. It was ugly. Coming in at number 1, of course, we have the Michigan Panthers.
We continue to look like a very strong team. I mean, week in and week out. The only thing I have to say, for the love of, I don't care, can you please beat the Stallions one of the next 2 times, preferably the second time, preferably both times, but preferably the second time. Beat the Stallions one time, so I don't have to sit and look at that 0-6 record. It's ridiculous. I don't know how we haven't beaten the Stallions a single time yet. I get it in the early first couple games. I got it because we were one of the worst teams in the league in the first couple of seasons. But we didn't beat them last year. We haven't beat them this year yet. What are we doing? It's one game against the Stallions. We're not that bad. We played 3 games against them last year and didn't win a single one.
I'll tell you exactly
We're
what'll
doing the
happen.
same thing again.
They're gonna pull a Buffalo. They're gonna beat them in the
No.
regular season, then lose in the playoffs.
Also, I'm not gonna lie. I'm considering actually getting a hat.
I do kind of want
That's
some sort of
exactly-
Battlehawks.
That's exactly why I bought my official UFL hat.
Yo, that's crazy.
Mhm.
All right, so going through our power rankings one more time. At Ultra Baddie, we have the Maz. At 7, we have the Boats. At 6, we have the Roughnecks. At 5, we have the Renegades. At 4, we have the Stallions. 3 to the Defenders. 2 the Battlehawks. And 1 the Panthers. Friendly reminder, these are our power rankings, which automatically makes them better than Pete Prisco's because he hates everything fun. Nope, Pete. I really want to say you can get a girl, but I don't think I can. Unless if you're a Pete that's not Pete Prisco, I'm so sorry that is your name. Like, I am truly sorry. It's honestly your fault that you can't get a girl. Yes, I would like to thank my fellow footballers for sharing our ball knowledge with each other, and really this was a combined effort. Like, I cannot take all the credit because it's through our conversation and our analysis that we've really come together with this ball knowledge. And I mean, it just happened to be me who gets that 4-0, but I think we should all be able to get there. I think we're all going to go 4-0 for the rest of the season. I'm going to just say it. I don't think we'll miss a pick. Even though we all have several different picks this week, I don't think we'll miss a pick. I don't think it'll
That's
happen.
high. That counted wins for us.
I think it'll all work. I don't see us missing a pick here. So I would like to thank you all. We will get everyone to 4-0. But Ian, why don't you quickly take us through these picks?
Yeah, so starting off, we have the Battlehawks going into the Alamodome to take out the Brahmas on Friday, May 23rd at 8 p.m. I'm just gonna speak for all of us. We all take the Battlehawks.
Yeah.
No reason to break it down. As simple as that. Then we have the Renegades going in to take on the Boats on Saturday, May 24th at 12 p.m. I'm taking the Renegades.
Actually, I would like to go back. I will say there is a universe where the Battlehawks rest all of their starters and the Maz put up a fight, but I still think the Battlehawks win.
I thought about that. I thought, hey, they might rest their starters. It doesn't matter. It's the Brahmas.
Battlehawks still win, even their backups.
Yeah, I'm going Renegades. Would you two like to just supply your picks real quick?
I'm going Renegades.
Yeah, I'm also going Renegades.
Then
We're making the picks quick this week.
next up, we have the Panthers going into Birmingham to take on the Stallions Saturday, May 24th at 3 p.m.
Not this one. This one will not be quick.
Already took my perspective. Actually no, hold on. I took my perspective and I'm standing by it. The Panthers are going to win this game, but then the Stallions are going to win the playoffs.
No.
You know, so something about this game that is very interesting is we didn't mention it when we talked about their teams, but the Stallions quarterback from the beginning of the season, Alex Magoo is off IR. There is a possibility he starts. Honestly, I think they keep in Jamar at this point because he looks the best.
I'm pretty sure you said something in the group chat saying Jamar is the starter.
No, I said that about that this week. We weren't sure if he would be the starter this week, and that is confirmed.
Yeah, I think you keep Jamar Smith in, and I think he wins the game. I actually think he wins the game this week.
I personally think that just based off of what I saw from him, it was neck and neck against the Battlehawks. And again, I'm the only one here who thinks the Battlehawks are number one, but I do. And I don't think the Panthers win this, especially since we don't know what the Panthers quarterback situation is going to look like. So I'm taking the Stallions.
I'm going to take the Panthers, obviously, but at the same token, if we want to lose this one and win in the playoffs, I would greatly appreciate that.
At the same token.
That's probably one of the worst ones.
That's not, Steven Fraser, it's not the first time he said it.
If we win this game and lose in the playoffs, I'm going to cry.
I predicted it. Now, moving on to our final game, we have I forgot to mention, Panthers Stallions is our game of the week.
Yes.
So mark your calendars for that one. And then for our last game, we have the Defenders going in to take the Roughnecks on Sunday, May 25th at 4 p.m. Easy lock in the Defenders, in my opinion.
100%. Easy defenders block here.
So, funny story.
Oh my gosh. Didn't you just apologize for this earlier?
He just
Well,
said sorry.
it's because I think the defenders are going to be resting starters because it doesn't matter, and I think the Rough will win because the Roughnecks are not like the Brahmas. They're actually slightly comp.
I honestly
That's
don't
the
think
only reason why I'm taking the Roughnecks. It's not like I actually think they're going to genuinely win, but I just think the defense.
I honestly don't think teams will rest starters. Not this week at least. Maybe final week of the season, but I don't think they will this week.
I don't know if they will either.
It's because they don't play that many games. It's not like they're as tired as NFL teams are. And I think these guys are all guys that want to compete. They're not just competing for the UFL. They're competing for a chance at higher leagues. These guys are competing for chances to go to the NFL. So I don't think they'll rest just for that sole reason. I don't think they'll just accept 8 games and then rest for 2, maybe 1, but not 2. So I think they'll play this week.
Totally valid.
Fine, then. Gosh. No.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Motivation with Will Levitt. Dude, I
One thing I
hate
do
him
have to
so
say,
much.
Buffalo
Josh
Bills will win the
Dobbs,
Super Bowl.
actually the worst.
First
just
of all, we
honestly-
have Mitchell
okay,
David
no.
Trubisky on
Okay,
our
okay.
team.
Hey, guys. We got an ad to read, okay? Welcome back to Footballers Anonymous, the only podcast where UFL devotion meets NFL delusion. I'm Carson, Cardinals fan, Battlehawksaholic, and proud survivor of the Josh Rosen disaster.
I'm Ian, Bears loyalist, Brahmasaholic, and still trying to figure out how Jaden Daniels turned into Zeus for one play.
And I'm Alex, Bills Mafia Till I Die, Panthers-aholic by birthright. Also, I may or may not have cried during the Hail Murray one time.
One time.
Speaking of crying, if you haven't checked out our new merch store, you're really gonna need tissues.
Because it's so beautiful.
No, because you'll be crying from regret if you miss out. The official Footballers Anonymous merch store is alive at footballersanonymous-shop.fourthwall.com.
We've got hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, stickers, basically everything short of a Mitchell Trubisky prayer candle.
Yet.
And
Yeah.
this is important. First 5 people to buy from the shop become FBA VIPs. That is short for Footballers Anonymous VIPs. And you'll get personalized video messages from all 3 of us.
And the first 50 customers get their names read off like NFL draft picks at the end of every podcast episode. Immortality.
More permanent than Josh Rosen's career.
Okay, that hurt.
Not as bad as Deestroying ghosting the entire UFL. Bro, has anyone seen him?
Seriously, is he okay? Is he on a yacht? A spaceship? Does anyone know?
He's probably hiding from Rodrigo Blankenship, who is clearly the better kicker. Put some goggles on that truth.
Nah, I'm not gonna sit here and let you slander Donald De La Haye. He's the chosen one.
Chosen to disappear.
Okay, guys. This is too much chaos. Are you kidding me? Let me fix this with the power of song. Please go buy our merch tonight. We got hoodies that'll hug you and mugs that feel right. I'm begging and pleading, just one thing I need. Go to footballersanonymous.shop.fourthwall.com. I'll get down on my knees.
That was worse than the Bills' 13 seconds.
Hail Murray.
I deserved that.
Not as much as you deserved Josh Rosen.
Oh, come on. At least we didn't turn our future over to a 5'6" TikTok quarterback.
And at least we don't lose to a Hail Mary thrown by Jaden. I just woke up like this Daniels.
Fair enough.
Still, where is Deestroying?
He's probably out there praising the GOAT of football, Mitchell David Trubisky.
Blessed be his wristband reads.
He once threw a pass. So perfect. My fantasy team auto won that week.
He taught my dog to love it.
He canonically beat Mahomes that one time. Look it up.
He is love, is life.
And you know what else is love in life? Our merch! So one more time, footballersanonymous.shop.fourthwall.com. Be the first 5, become a VIP. Be the first 50, and we'll shout you out louder than a Trubisky touchdown.
And if you see Deestroying, tell him we're worried.
Tell him to buy a hoodie like this. Destroying wherever you are. Buy a hoodie.
Tell him Rodrigo's waiting. Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell. Mitchell.
His life.
Love
Jim
is
Trubisky.
Mitchell
love is
Trubisky.
life.
Mitchell Trubisky is.
Friendly reminder, none of the following remarks were created by AI, and all of our comments are perfectly logical and sound because they were not created by AI. They were, in fact, used by our footballers and small knowledge, so make sure, don't look it up or just trust us.
They were also not created by Allen Iverson.
And now back to the podcast. Wow, guys, what an amazing ad read. I really need to go to that shop more often, you know?
I feel so tempted to go buy Footballers Anonymous merch.
Like
Dripped out.
all
I'm
of that
encouraged.
all of that accurate information, like me hating the Hail Murray, and
Yeah.
it's rough.
My team would never lose to a last-second Hail Mary by Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, no, that's what made me so sad. Totally not AI written script, really came in clutch.
Speaking of
No.
the NFL, we're going to transition into our NFL segments.
So we don't have a lot of news this week because of the
Hey,
Carson,
who are you?
Carson, you're forgetting a step.
Who are you? I don't know who you are.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me, I didn't reintroduce myself. I was confused because I did it during the ad. But for those of you who don't know, my name is Carson and I am a cardsaholic.
My name is Alex, and I am a Billsaholic.
And I'm Ian, and I'm a Bearsaholic.
Getting into this week's NFL news, we don't have a whole ton to talk about, but we do have some pretty big things. Starting off with the Baltimore Ravens, who extended running back Derrick Henry to a 2-year, $30 million contract. Huge for them. Very good, very good. Love to see it.
Next up, the 49ers extended Brock Purdy, quarterback, on a 5-year, $265 million deal. And they also extended linebacker Fred Warner to a 3-year, $63 million deal. Kind of a very big pay gap between the two, which is honestly kind of surprising in my opinion.
Brock Purdy.
And then,
okay.
yeah, listen, they can do what they want with that. I think he's a good quarterback, deserves the extension, but it's a little bit much in my opinion. And lastly, though, the last of the 3 extensions, Nick Sirianni has agreed to a multi-year extension with the Eagles. I'm trying to find your. I mean, realistically, it wasn't specified, but realistically, that stuff doesn't really matter. Extend when they want to anyway, like, and then they fire whenever they want to. You know, they want to keep him around. Shout out the Eagles fans after last season trying to get him fired, and now he's getting extended. Switch up.
Typical of Eagles fans, honestly. I can't even lie.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
pretty much-
granted, last season was a disaster. It wasn't. I didn't think they should have fired him, but I think the frustration was warranted. But the switch up is still crazy.
Cardinals Eagles was the best game of the year.
All
right. So now we have one more segment for you guys, and it does tie into some pretty big NFL news. We had the NFL schedule release this week, which is a very big time in the NFL. And you'll hear us start talking about a lot of these games now that we know exactly where and when they are. But we have to talk about the event itself because it's a very big day in the NFL when the schedules get released. Pretty much the only big day left in the NFL season for a hot second, where every NFL team gets together and they kind of try to make a fun little release video. This is essentially like a celebrate the media teams day. They just go crazy. So we decided,
teams have fun.
yeah. So we decided for our quick picks, we were gonna celebrate all these organizations and the fun they've had by making our quick picks NFL schedule announcement videos. So how this is gonna work? We're gonna make them. We're gonna make it pretty fast because we don't have a whole ton of time. Alex will have our first pick. We will be doing it in snake draft format. We're gonna give you guys what we pick. Give a brief description if you haven't seen it, and just kind of a brief reasoning and move on. We should be done pretty quickly, but we'll give you the highlights and the best videos of the day, as well as at the end we'll highlight some of the worst ones. With that, Alex, you have the first pick.
Man, I am going back and forth with this first pick, but I'm between two, but I have a part of me thinks that there's a small chance that I can get this one in the second round, even though I think it's in the top 2 personally. I'm not sure if these two will agree. For that specific reason, I'm gonna go with Mr. Classic social media awesomeness here with the first overall pick in the media videos draft. I'm gonna take the safe pick and go with the Los Angeles Chargers video.
Very solid pick.
They hit
Very
every
solid.
year. It's hard to go wrong with picking them. I think my other pick would have been a lot riskier pick, and I'm gonna see if I can get them in a later round. I hope I can. I don't think I will if they're thinking like me, but this is what.
Just want to note some great details from the Chargers video. The ghost of Saquon Barkley and the Giants, and at the very end of the video, they had a little cutscene in which Josh Allen was leaving the cinema with his head down. They don't play the Bills. is took a shot at Josh Allen, and I loved that little detail. That was why I was going to take them first. Now I am up next, and I already know
No, it was a Minecraft cinema thing.
Yeah.
that too. I would just want to I'm just going to go immediately. I don't have to think about this. I'm going to be taking the Atlanta Falcons with pick number 2.
Really?
I
That's a good
loved
one.
the style of the video. They had so many good references that I just loved seeing. It was just solid, well edited, well put together. My personal favorite outside of the Chargers. Actually, I like it more than the Chargers.
All right, so for my first pick, there were a lot of good ones. This one I really think no one's talked about, even though I think it might be my favorite out of all of them. I'm gonna take the Seattle Seahawks video. Their nice '90s toy commercial. This one was the only one that I was actually like dying of laughter watching. I genuinely enjoyed everything about this. The pacing was perfect. All of the action figures with all of their different digs. Also, shout out to them when they got to the Cardinals, they called it the Arizona Cardinal.
Yep,
Football's Anonymous reference. Footballers Anonymous reference. Uh-huh.
The Arizona Cardinals.
So that was fun. And I mean, Chad the smoothie barista, that was hilarious. Just everything about it just landed so perfectly.
I love the Bam Bam Cam Ban.
Yes.
And I love the that's gonna get him a fine money not included. And I also loved it when here comes the 49ers spewing 90s nostalgia.
That was
Great
incredible.
It was
Great
wonderful.
video.
Wonderful video. Huge fan. So that is my first pick. And with the snake draft format, I go next. And even if I don't think these two are gonna pick it, I cannot not pick the Arizona Cardinals video. I mean, it's not like the most amazing rap of all time. I think it's a banger personally. They released a full-on music video, as well as like a full album on Apple Music, all done by one of our Footballers Anonymous fan favorites, Mac Wilson. We love Matt. He did a rap for our entire schedule. There's some bars in there too. It was very good. I loved the cinematography during the video. Totally took themselves a little too seriously, but like it was just so much different than what everyone else did. It was a very big one for me. So very happy I got my top 2 guys off the board here.
I am going to take a big swing here, I think. So this video, in my opinion, was very well put together. I loved the style of it. I loved the little jokes they had throughout. I'm going to be taking the San Francisco 49ers Golden Trail.
Ooh.
I really liked it. They had so many good jokes implanted in it. Because of that, that's just what I'm going with the 5th pick.
Well, I'm glad I took the Chargers number 1 because I'm not gonna lie, this might be just a personal thing for me. Me and my family in particular have a very long history and a countless hours of jokes about making fun of doctor commercials. The Tennessee Titans video was so funny. I almost took that number 1. I was like, that might be a reach. But that was actually it was them, the Seahawks actually I had in that consideration, the Chargers. I loved the Titans video. That one was so good. I'm props because that was incredible. It was really fun.
So well done.
And with number 7, I'm going to take the Commanders. I think the Roller Coaster Tycoon was very well set up. I've played a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon as well in my time. I enjoyed it a lot, and I thought the jokes around the park with all the teams, they had all the rides, and they actually, not all the teams did this. They had the schedule built, releasing the schedule while the video was going instead of just a random thing, where it's just flashing the schedule. I don't like that as much.
So Alex just took both of my next picks.
Yeah.
Which is extremely unfortunate. So I'm just gonna keep looking down my list. I'm gonna take a guy who I think is a little bit high, but I personally love this video. I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh.
I thought it was very well put together, supporting part of the community. Just a good display. I liked the vibe of the shop. I loved a lot of the tattoo looks. It was a local tattoo artist just putting tattoos for each week on real people. So it was a very nice. I really enjoyed the video.
All right, so coming in with my 3rd pick, I think I'm going to take one that a lot of people have been hating on for some reason. I have no idea why. I'm going to take the Giants video.
It's a little bit higher. I respect it.
I have no idea why people are hating on this. I personally thought it was hilarious. It was sort of like a bachelorette dating show profile type thing. So many wonderful digs at all the teams. I just loved it. The Cowboys person being dressed up like Dolly Parton was hilarious. all of it just hit very well for me, and it was a really top one for me. Alex, you did kind of mess up my board a lot, especially with the Titans Rizzy. I really thought I was gonna get that.
Me too.
I was
with
I was worried I would take that actually in the first couple rounds.
But with my fourth pick, I think, and this one might also be taken kind of high. I'm going to be taking the Carolina Panthers.
No!
The Carolina
God.
the Carolina Panthers video with their secrets. They had a secret meeting, and all of the players were revealing their secrets. Oh my gosh, this was
Oh my God.
hilarious. I loved this. The Southern accent,
That is
loving the
so
finer things. This one, I don't even want to describe it too much to you. You just need to go watch it. It is beautiful. The players have really good acting, even though they're players. But just, oh my gosh, I love this video so much.
In the stadium.
I live in the
Dude,
state.
my favorite one was the JC Horn one.
Which one was his?
He was giving out seatbelt citations.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
That was my favorite one. That's
I
so
haven't even left the stadium yet. He just walks away.
The only thing that lowers this video for me is the fact that you only see the schedule for like a couple seconds at the end.
Yeah.
But I think like them building up to the release of the schedule does kind of work with everyone revealing their secrets.
Added one more secret.
I wish they had like hidden details about the schedules in the secrets, but that's just me personally. But it was just so funny. I couldn't let it slide, and I wouldn't have been able to pick it up if I didn't take it here. So this is a lock for me.
With my fourth pick, my list has just been thrown in an array the whole time. I do not like picking in the second slot. I don't like being in the middle. So I'm just gonna take the Bears. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the Bears pick. I personally loved the video. Some great like actors involved. The whole Ben Johnson thing was incredible. It was just hilarious. I sent it to every Ben Johnson. That was funny. I enjoyed that. It was just a good video for me. And Ben Johnson himself being in a Cubs jersey was just funny to me for no reason. So I loved it. I'll just take that there.
I think all of our boards have been messed with. I'm very happy with my first three picks, but now I'm kind of going off on a limb. My fourth pick is kind of a lock here. We are going with the first original release of the Colts video. I think I have to get the Minecraft duo, and I'm gonna take the original Colts video with the Tyreek Hill. It was the other Minecraft one with the Tyreek Hill getting arrested, as well as a bunch of other in short. The Colts video is the dark web version of the Chargers video.
This one
I don't
took
support this thing at all. This had some complications with us. We had to discuss this one extensively.
This one
These guys
had
both
complications with
supported it.
Ian. It had
These
complications
guys both
with Ian.
supported putting them in. Me personally, I do not think this guy should be included in this draft, but I was outvoted, so therefore he is here.
This video
Surprised he
was just-
fell this far.
This video was just so wonderful. I loved all of the digs. This was the first one that had the Cardinals as chicken jockey, which for some reason happened in like 4 different videos, which was really hilarious. The Tyreek Hill joke was wonderful. They really took swings at some of these teams, and it was wonderful. It was deleted because of the Tyreek Hill joke, even though Tyreek Hill said it was super funny and should have stayed up. Great pick by it.
After careful deliberation, my team has come to the consensus that with the 13th pick in the release video draft, I think this is gonna be a sleeper team in this league. I'm actually gonna go with the Los Angeles Rams video.
Oh, I loved that one. I loved theirs.
I thought those were very well put together. It was a sleeper one because it wasn't as flashy as some of the other ones, but I thought the jokes were very well put together, and I thought that
Brenda's
I
song
think it
delivered
was
them
very well orchestrated, and I thought the girl trying to get on the team as 100, like the coach calling her like, "You're 100 pounds. We're not signing you to play a linebacker."
Wonderful.
Nice little touch.
That was a good one. That's a great one. Good pick.
For my last pick in our 2025 schedule release videos draft, I've had to think a lot about this one. A lot of the teams left don't really stand out to me too much, except for one. I liked a lot of the jokes they made or references. I kind of like the vibe of the video. I'm going to be taking the Las Vegas Raiders with my final pick. I think it was a solid video. And now for the final pick, Carson's going to be taking Mr. Irrelease video.
Mr. Irrelease. Okay. I am in a very tough spot here. I think there are some guys that I really, really liked and I want to pick. But in the spirit of the Mr. Irrelevant, there's really one quality about this video. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't enjoy this video at all. But there was one thing about it that makes it just redeemable enough to be Mr. Irrelevant here. Mr. Irrelease. So for the final pick of this draft, I will be picking Tom Grossi and the Packers video. This video was a fever dream. I didn't like it at all. It was just kind of weird and the schedule wasn't involved at all. But Tom Grossi was in it.
Well,
He got water dumped on his head.
the whole point of the dream was he had to find the schedule.
Yeah, but it was too long for there not to be any like hints about it. It was very unnecessary. Some of the shots were really good and there were some nice moments, but overall, Tom Grossi is the highlight for me. I am drafting this for Tom and Tom alone.
I will also say, though, I want to give the video credit when their owner was like talk about the F running across the field.
I enjoyed that.
Funny.
Get the F off the field. And then that was the last one I had to give.
Field.
Get the F off the field. That was the last one I had to give. Didn't enjoy that.
Like,
That one was good.
oh man.
So going through, that's our full pick. Those are all our picks. Going through the rest of the teams, just kind of briefly.
Make sure to go down in the comments and let us know who won the draft. Give us different draft grades and let us know what you want us to draft next week. We are open to all suggestions.
Thank you. So going through all of the videos, I'm going through in a list of the way I ranked them, just because that's how they are on my list. So we're going from my best ones that didn't get picked to some of my worst, but this is just going down the list pretty much. Our first one, we have the Bills, who totally missed out on some great AI potential. Not that I know anything about using AI for anything. Definitely missed out here. Very disappointed.
They would have went number one if they did what we do at Footballers Anonymous for our shop reads.
You mean when we don't use AI to write our scripts?
Yeah, no, you don't. They know what I mean. They know what I mean.
Yes, of course. Up next we have the Broncos, who did a sheep riding video, which was kind of weird.
Okay,
it was
so
just
it's not sheep riding. That is mutton busting, and it's when kids ride sheeps, and so you can hold on the longest, and they win. Fun fact about that, and why I almost picked it: I did mutton busting for a 4th of July rodeo years upon years ago. In Wimberley, Texas. Me and my stepbrother did it. My stepbrother actually won the mutton busting trophy, and so I almost picked it just because it was something I've been through. But they just didn't. There was no schedule sustenance to it. It was just so yeah, it's mutton busting.
I had no idea about that. That's kind of cool actually. Up next we have the Texans. The Texans video was nice. They had a bunch of celebrities, just lots of people from Houston. They really acknowledged the community. It was just nice. I think their brain rot one that Toro posted was funnier. But that's just me. Then we have the Chiefs. They did a Cash Cab parody. I thought it was kind of funny. They got the host of Cash Cab there. Some nice little trivia. It was fine. Then the Ravens, whose video was way too long. It was a parody of Severance, which I know people who actually know what that is. They did enjoy it. I didn't understand it. The only real draw was that they had lots of players and staff involved, and they showed a lot of facilities. So it was a very involved process. It shot very well. I just didn't know what it was. We have the Steelers, who I really considered taking at Mr. Irrelevant. They had a Bigfoot Hunter parody. This one was very funny. It was very well edited, a little too long, but I still enjoyed watching it. Then we had the Jets, and they got one of those like infinite drawing things that you zoom in on at each one, and it gave you each week. This was a cool watch. Then the Cowboys. They did a full on like 4-hour live stream of them like golfing, where like occasionally you would see hints of the schedule, which was really cool, but barely anyone watched it. Pretty much the only thing everyone watched was like the 2-minute clip where they just showed those random moments on their Instagram. So most people didn't like it because they didn't know what it was. Then we have the Bucks, which was literally just like a 10-minute Coach Gruden unboxing. I love Coach Gruden unboxings, so I kind of vibed with this. It just didn't feel like anything super special, but we love Coach Gruden.
I really like this one too. Just for me, it felt more like a John Gruden unboxing than it did a schedule release video. So for that's why I didn't take it. But it was enjoyable to watch. Love watching John Gruden unboxing.
100%. Up next, we have the Lions. The Lions video, they pretty much just had helmets of the matchups with some cool drone shots. The drone shots were cool, but there wasn't anything really special. The Saints video, I don't even really want to talk about this one. It didn't land. at all. It's like a press conference, and I didn't want to
Angry
do it at all.
translator. I like the angry translator concept. I don't think they executed it well.
No, they did. We got the Eagles, who pretty much just flexed their Lombardi trophy the entire time. There was nothing else special about it other than it was just edited really well, which I liked.
I liked the video just for like the cinematography and the editing, but it just wasn't anything scheduled. It just didn't scream schedule release to me.
The Jags, they had their everyday routine one, which has really been going around the internet. I didn't care for it like at all. Schedule was not an integral part of it to begin with. Not a big fan. Then we have the Browns. Brownie was just kind of messing with some cool like VFX stuff. I know Ian knows more about who does those. I liked it just because I love those kinds of VFX. Then we got the Dolphins. Their Dolphins video was cool, like VFX wise, especially at the beginning. But they pretty much just flashed the teams on the screen with some motivational speaking in the background.
It started off very nice and then just kind of lost it. Cool visuals though.
We got the Patriots, who are pretty close to the bottom. They just did an egg drop video the whole time.
I will say I was mildly entertained, but
I'm so glad you were.
I'm just personally not a big fan of Dave Portnoy. I like his pizza reviews for the most part, but other than that, I'm just not a big fan.
And then this one was the worst for me, was the Bengals video. It had a couple jokes that landed, but
I don't think it was the worst, but it just wasn't that much. It wasn't anything special.
They pretty much just did a whole like, camera left recording. They did like a camera left recording type thing, which those can be so funny if you do them right. I love things like that. But this one just didn't it didn't really work for me.
Did you say the Lions one?
Yes, I
did.
did.
Okay.
Also, I would love to shout out, not a schedule release post, but the Panthers before the schedule release posted a short film that was about the schedule releaser 5000 or something like that. Great video with Adam Thielen, very entertaining, loved it. If I was going to comment about it when I picked the Panthers, but obviously I didn't pick the Panthers, so I just had to acknowledge it right now. It was a great video.
When Carson picked the Panthers, both me and Ian were like, no.
When you picked the Titans, both me and Carson were like, no.
So I guess we both got our shares. It's fine.
There were some good ones. There were some really good ones.
I also want to shout out the only division that had all 4 videos picked was the NFC West. They were definitely ahead of the game for these videos. I thought all 4 of them were very good.
They did cook. All great videos for different reasons. Loved watching them. But with those quick picks being done and us running very low on time, that is it for this episode of Footballers Anonymous. If you are still with us, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. Go ahead, if you haven't, make sure you are subscribed to our Footballers Anonymous YouTube. We are currently 6 subscribers away from 150, which is insane given how long it took us to even get to 100. We are really starting to cook with our momentum on YouTube. We want to go ahead and keep that rolling. We love and appreciate you for that. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram as well. I'm pretty sure we're close to 100 there too.
Close to 100 on TikTok as well, so go there too.
And we are very close on TikTok. We post all kinds of content on both of those platforms that you should 100% be looking out for. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, where, of course, we only post Minion memes. And with that, Footballer Nation, we are officially done with this week's episode. We will see you next week. Footballer Nation, let's ride.